go to the next question. Mr. Schweitzer, we'll have you answer this question first.
Okay.
If elected, will you ask the state legislature to pass a resolution calling for a national constitutional convention?
I think that might be a little bit dangerous when we allow corporations to control our Congress. You know, whether they buying our congressmen, buying our courts, might be a little dangerous to open up the Constitution for them to just totally mess with it. You know what I mean? Now, there's some things that we could talk about there, you know, because, well, when it was established, you know, slavery was okay and racism was okay. A few things have changed, you know, but I don't know if we need to dwell on that. Let's get to business and let's get to fixing our local economies, because I tell you, we've got rural America here is on the skids. I mean, these towns are boarded up like, you know, they used to be thriving local economies, and that was all destroyed. And we need to reconnect our local food networks, you know, and we need to have food and stuff grown locally, because those trucks aren't going to roll forever. I mean, besides, it's a huge waste of energy. Huge waste of energy right there in that one thing. We used to grow food outside of every city. That's not there anymore. It needs to be rebuilt.
Mr. Marceaux.
Can you repeat that question? I'm almost falling asleep for
Okay. If elected, will you ask the state legislature to pass a resolution calling for a national constitutional convention?
No. The reason is the legislation only has a support and I won't abridge oath, which is the crappiest oath almost in the state. Now, the better thing would be is you take the highest oath citizens of the country, which is the best of each army, the SEALs, the Green Berets, and the paratroopers, and of course, you know, yours truly, the Marine. We have a protect and defend oath. We should be able to arrest anyone who breaks their oath, because we have the highest. So we don't need someone to make a law. We just need, hey, if you don't believe me this, I know everyone's here going to be laughing in a minute. If you don't believe me, let's all call the Commandant of the Marine Corps tomorrow and say, what is a Marine? You know what they'll tell you? They'll tell you a Marine is a Marine for life, and he's under his oath for life. Now, if I'm under my oath to protect and defend land and sea, domestic and foreign, against all enemies, well, that means anyone who breaks the Constitution, wouldn't it? So yep. I don't need a new law. I just have to enforce the old one.
All right.
So you answered no, because they wouldn't arrest themselves, because they're the biggest constitutional violators we got.
Ms. Griffin.
No, there's no one competent in the United States Congress to tamper with the Constitution.
We agree on that.
Wasn't actually the question.
The question was, would the governor go along with a constitutional convention?
No. May I clarify my question?
Sure. Yes.
Just as a straight shot here. What I'm driving at is, in a sense, two things: state sovereignty, right? And I'm talking about the states calling, 3/4 of the states calling for the convention, and Congress is not a party to this process. Congress is not in this loop.
You're talking about state constitutional convention.
No, I'm talking about 3/4 of the states, each legislature passing a resolution calling for a national constitutional convention, and then we have the convention, and the states send delegates, and we talk.
Right. No,
and
the answer is still no.
So that's exactly what I meant.
Yeah, no, there's nobody competent to tamper with either constitution right now.
Yeah.
I think it would be fascinating, but
well, I'd like to have the conversation, because
yeah.
And I guess I know I'm out of order, but I'm going to continue.
He says
great many.
You in charge. We're up here. We just learned these pulpits tonight. You're the one in charge, so you're not interfering with anybody.
No, I'm sorry.
Well, keep
No,
talking.
but no, I just wanted to say, because we do have conservatives here tonight, and what I am driving at is conservative in a sense. I think there are a lot of people who are very unhappy with certain Supreme Court decisions, such as Roe versus Wade or many others, and I think there's a lot of law that's been, in some sense, made by the Supreme Court. And I'd like to see this country go back and have us, the people, through the states, using the states to protect our interests against the federal government, whether you like that or not, and to have the conversation, you know, and say, you know, we've been arguing about, we've let the courts argue about what the Constitution means for too long. Let's us have that discussion.
Good point. I like that.
Being he rephrased his whole question completely, I think we need another opportunity at this, don't you think, buddy?
Another opportunity on that?
To answer his question.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Now,
Go ahead.
Well, Ms. Griffin, she kept the same answer. She still said.
Well, I'd just like to comment. What you're dealing with is basically a change from our Bill of Rights over to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The law was all overturned then. And what happened was that we gave the ACLU the power through 42 U.S.C. 1988 to collect their legal fees out of your tax dollars. And the schools of law, that went throughout our whole nation. And the only way to undo that is when I intervened in Cheatham County and Knox and Davidson County as a taxpayer, because the Department of Education is involved in my tax dollars going to Washington, recycling through all those agencies and coming down. I was involved as a taxpayer, so the judge allowed my intervention in Knox and Davidson County. And I said, they are going to pay their own legal fees. And that key right there, the American Legion in 2004 at their convention in Nashville, Tennessee, passed a resolution to stop the ACLU from getting paid out of tax dollars. And we tried to get that through Congress. But that one act, everybody got all flurried over rights and all these marches, and that wasn't the issue. The issue was how the ACLU could rob your local tax pots. They made $300,000 taking Roy Moore's commandments out. The people lost. They voted for those commandments that the whole state of Alabama voted, and then the ACLU marched out of there with those and the $300,000. So in the Knox-Davidson County case that I intervened and the judge allowed my intervention, I made them pay their own legal bills. That's the only way to break that back of that law. And these so-called Christian lawyers are playing the same game. The counties are covered by corporate insurance, and they're scared to death of two things. And I say this just by way of information to y'all. People don't cover these local county commissions, which running for governor, you have a lot to do with this. Counties, your county budget, all politics is local, and your county budget has to do, they're scared of two things, your commissioners. They're scared of those mandates that come down with the grants. Your money's being recycled, dropping back like manna, and in your local county, they come with mandates that take away your rights. And the other thing is liability. And that's only two things those commissioners fear, because once they hit that liability with those suits, the people have looking for the deep pocket for something for nothing, and then they walk away. The insurance company raises the rates. So if I were to by God's grace, get elected to governor, that Commerce and Insurance Department is going to be sliced, because Commerce and Insurance is running Tennessee. But you ask about law. It all has to do with liability law, and it has to do with the tort reform and that kind of thing. And that's what I'm more concerned with law than anything. I am very concerned about the direction our law is taking. And that's what's all behind all this interest in Muslim temples and all that. The ACLU is wanting to defend those cases internationally. That's why the Mexicans and all this talk about profiling. It has to do with them getting those legal fees out of your tax dollars. So okay. You all can take that and do what you want to with it.
Mr. Schweitzer.
Well, I guess usually the loser does pay for the legal fees.
No, not necessarily.
And,
not with my tax dollars, they don't. And the judge agreed with me in Knoxville, but in the Cheatham County case, the judge said that if the taxpayer were to intervene, it would torpedo the settlement between the school board and the ACLU and raise other issues. Those other issues are our tax money being involved with the DEA out of Washington.
And Mr. Marceaux, did you want to
Okay.
respond to that?
I gotta do this. Hey, buddy, did you know Abraham Lincoln was a radical? So my radical citizen, I'm going to tell you this, because maybe you haven't saw one of my commercials that we put up on YouTube. I feel what you say. No one listens to us, we people, no more. We have no authority over nothing. So if you read I know when I did that 1 minute commercial, it was short and sweet because I only had 1 minute. But maybe you didn't hear when I explained it. Okay. Now the reason I'm going to give everyone guns, because the Constitution said we have the right to bear arms against our government. And today they have Patriot missiles, we have slingshots with stones. And they want to put numbers on them to see where the stones come from.
Right.
Now, so I'm going to give you your guns. Only for one reason, not to protect yourself or not before you go hunting. You can use it for that, but that ain't the reason I'm going to give them to you for. I'm going to give them to you because if I become governor tomorrow, you take yourself for that gun and 24 of your other friends, and you come up there and see me. If you have any problem with anything with the government, and then I want you to act real mad now, because I have to move quick and send you to my commission. And they're going to be the highest oath citizens of the country, the ones we trust to protect our borders from enemy coming in. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Right now we use them to kill other people in other countries and make them democracies. But their job at that time, at that commission, which they all be great men, immune from all crimes, including murder, above civil law, because the Supreme Court, that law I got says it so. They be their job to prove you wrong. And if they can't prove you wrong, guess what, buddy? You're going to go home happy with you and your 24, but we the people as just one. But now if you come out there with something illegal idea, I hope no offense taken, ladies. I have to make a point here. You know, our men, we may want to come up there with 25 citizens and say all women have to be topless on a certain day. Well, that kind of stuff, I'm not going to let happen. It has to be a realistic thing. We the people are going to fix our government in Tennessee, but you're going to go out there and vote for me, and if you already voted, you're going to go out and re-vote, because it's never done before. Tell me you didn't know about this guy, Basil. And in Tennessee, you will have protection. And I'll sign a law, even if I got to use my blood for all eternity, because once we're a republic again in Tennessee, we'll never, ever be a concave government again. And I'll swear to you that. Because I don't take contribution. I'm not going to be bought off for anyone. And I'm ready for the federal government to come down and see me. I got a law that says they're under arrest. And when I rule, there's no appeal. If they shoot me, come to my funeral, but make sure I'm a Force Recon Marine I deserve, and they owe me a flyby with jets.
Thank you.
I would like Mr. Schweitzer to have a chance to answer that question because Mr. Griffin interrupted him during his rebuttal time. So, and you went on to Mr. Marceaux. Could we just ask and see if Mr. Schweitzer
Do you need more time?
What was that question again?
Could I?
It was in response
and
to
John.
his
Right.
restating the
Could I get
original
a chair?
question.
Right. Well, we do definitely need to have that conversation, and I think it needs to be broken down further than the states, because the community is where it all begins. And we need to relearn community because they've all been destroyed. Basically, we don't have communities very much anymore. How often do you get together with your neighbors in the area and discuss the issues that affect your neighborhood? What affects your watershed? What's coming downstream to you? You know, have you thought about it? The Green Party feels like we need to reorganize ourselves so that we understand what's going on. We need to understand our history. We need to understand our science, and we need to understand that we're being taken advantage of in a very big way and have for a very long time. And so we need to reorganize ourselves so that we can take care of the real important things that can allow us to raise happy children and have happy lives.
Okay. We're going to move on to the next question. This was